Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while, and today I'm coming on to talk about breaking generational cycles of trauma dumping. Some of us have grown up in environments where we've inherited so much trauma without us even being consciously aware of it. And we keep on repeating these patterns and cycles and going on and passing on the generational trauma to our children, to our children's children, to every single member of the family without us realizing it. And today it's all about breaking those patterns. It's all about stopping those generational trauma from going on. It's all about really healing yourself and allowing yourself to gain that conscious awakening of how this is happening and how you can put a stop to it and begin to live a better life. If you know someone who can benefit from this video, share it with them and invite them to come on board, and let's really break cycles and patterns that we've inherited unconsciously and really begin to live a better life for ourselves and for our children and the generations to come. Trauma dumping happens in families where there's a lot of trauma, and you may not even realize that as a parent you've had that trauma passed down to you, and you're also just carrying it on and passing it down to your children. Trauma dumping happens when you begin to share stories about how you've been broken, how you've been damaged, and you begin to really try to prevent your children from going down that path. But indirectly, you may also be pushing them to go towards that part without really recognizing it. It's sometimes passing on your traumatic pains to your children, and those traumatic pains are now relived by those children, reenacted by those children, and they also go on into relationships where they're also carrying on the trauma dumping to their own children. And it's just a generational cycle of curses and patterns that are unhealthy and really leave our world in a devastated place where generations upon generations upon generations are now carrying on this trauma without realizing it. So how does trauma dumping happen? You may have parents who did not grow up in a healthy environment, and they did not really have anyone teach them about love. And so through that, they may start to instill their pain on you without you realizing that they have gone through emotional trauma or pain that, they're not also consciously aware of. And that has altered their state of mind, altered who they are, reshaped them into this hurtful person that they are acting out as, in terms of behavior, in terms of, relating to you, in terms of communication. And without them knowing it, you are acquiring the trauma that, they have also acquired from their parents indirectly. And that just keeps, translating and trickling down into a rippling effect, and it goes on in generations upon generations, and the cycle just gets repeated. How do you identify this? Look at how maybe you've been in an environment, maybe your parents are not together anymore, and see how you're repeating the same patterns and cycles that they have also repeated. Maybe things that you observed as a child and you said to yourself, I'm never going to do in my own relationship, but you're not recognizing that it's what is leading you to attract the same kind of partner and repeat the cycles. Those are trauma dumping situations where you've acquired the trauma from them. You haven't grown up in an environment where you've been shown love, but all you've been shown is the trauma, and the trauma has been dumped on you. So you are now taking the trauma and taking it back into your own relationships, and the relationships that you're getting involved in are the same things. You find the same things happening to you in those relationships. So how do you know, especially when you're in a relationship where trauma dumping is happening? You meet a partner, and the first thing you start to share are the painful moments of your childhood and how you've come into a place where, you've acquired so much, and then you start to figure out you have something in common, commonality, not complementary. And so you start to share those painful moments, and it seems to bring you together into a situation where you're now trauma bonding. So you initially met and you shared the painful moments and experiences and trauma dumped. And from trauma dumping, you became bonded in this strong energetic way where you feel like you've known each other for so long, but you can't really put a pin to how come you have like similar childhood experiences. So you've trauma dumped and now trauma bonded. And what happens is you begin to birth these fantasies and illusions about this perfect relationship based on the trauma dumping and bonding that has taken place. And so you begin to fantasize about this partner, and in a few weeks, you're already thinking that this relationship is a committed relationship. And as you go on into the relationship, the masks begin to fall off. And as the masks begin to fall off, you begin to see a different side of your partner. And you begin to wonder, how come this person I'm with is somebody different all of a sudden? And then maybe the relationship ends on a sour note. And you start playing the victim mindset without really being consciously aware that what brought you together was the trauma dump and then the trauma bond, and the emotional wounds that you had buried for so long are now being repeated over and over again. And you leave that relationship and you hop into the next one, and it's the same repeated patterns and cycles. Today, it's all about breaking those patterns and cycles that you have mirrored as a child, that has been dumped on you as a child, that you have emotionally absorbed as a child and actually relived in your adulthood without you realizing how this is taking place and how this is affecting your relationship, and that how this is leading you to attract partners that are in the same spot. The first thing you have to understand is you have to go through the grieving process. Number one is going through the grieving process. Grieve from whatever you've gone through. Grieve from whatever, if I can type today, grieve from whatever you've gone through as a child and as an adult. Grieve from whatever you have gone through as a child or an adult. Because without grieving from those painful moments, what you discover is that you're going to keep repeating those things over and over again without gaining a conscious awareness. Grieving is part of the healing process, and grieving and healing do take time. You're not going to heal from everything at once, but once you start to work on one, it helps you to begin to uncover the missing pieces to the rest of the puzzle, so that as you're gaining a conscious awakening and as you're realizing that you're doing the work in the process, you are able to get beyond where you are to where you need to be. So there are 5 steps to the grieving process itself. And this may take a while, but I really want to go through the 5 steps. There's the denial and the isolation, which usually happens also at the end of a relationship. When a relationship ends, you find yourself isolating and being in a state of denial and thinking that, this is not happened. This hasn't happened to me. And it is in that denial and isolation phase where you find yourself really crying out and staying in a house by yourself, not wanting to turn the lights on, just want to be left alone. And in the denial stage is where you beg and chase and plead and still tell people that the relationship is still real. But without really going through that process of accepting what has happened and allowing yourself to really look at what those things are teaching you, what will happen is you become angry, which is the second stage. You begin to act out in anger, and sometimes the anger leads you to make irrational decisions and poor choices that allow you to begin to think in a rebellious way and do things that you're not meant to do. So without really owning the moment that this things have happened, and really looking at the fact that, yes, I came from a dysfunctional childhood. I've had a lot of emotional pain buried, and I'm looking to tap into those emotional pain to really gain a conscious awareness of what I need to learn from them, then hold on to them. What you will do is live a life that's not meant for you, and really allow it to shift your mindset from a healthy place to an unhealthy place, and that begins to affect your behavior and how you bond with other people, and it really leaves you in a depressive mode where you're not allowing yourself to go through the process. So as you're going through the process, understand that when you're in denial, you get angry. And when you're in denial and you're angry, you get depressed sometimes when you think about it. But you have to be able to accept everything that has happened to you during the grieving process. And as you accept the whatever is happening, you're also not going to trauma dump on your children or on your partner when you get into another relationship. But what you're going to allow yourself to do is to own the truth in that moment and accept what is. It has happened. You can't control the situation. There is nothing you can change about it. But what you can do is to grieve and go through the process of looking at that angry face. What are you learning about yourself? Looking at that bargaining place where you're trying to make the partner really validate you and feel like they have to accept you at all costs. Coming back and saying to yourself, I don't need to beg or chase, but I need to learn from this situation, then allow it to lead me to becoming depressed. And then as you go through that grieving process, accept the end of that relationship so that you don't trauma dump on the next person that comes into your life. And if you have children, if you've gone through a breakup or a divorce and you have children, you're not trauma dumping on your children to where they're now accepting trauma as their norm, and then they're also carrying that trauma through their adulthood and repeating the same patterns and cycles that they have absorbed from you. So like I said, the first step is to grieve through the process. The second step is to begin to look at the lessons. What are you learning? What are you learning from all the processes that you've gone through? What are you learning from the experiences that you've gone through? And as you examine those experiences, what you do is you discover the parts of you that you haven't connected to. And as you look at those lessons, you're realizing that everything that you were angry about, everything that you thought was happening against you was actually happening for you and bringing you a conscious awakening to the you that you're yet to discover, to the you that you're yet to know, and to the you that you're yet to become. Because life is a journey of self-discovery. And in discovering yourself, you are going on the journey of becoming. And all the becoming processes are leading you to becoming restored at the end of the day. So as you go through this learning phase of your journey, don't rush the process. You've gone through the grieving, and understand that through the learning as well, you're also going to heal from what you did not know about yourself. Let me say that again. As you're going through the learning process, you're also going to gain a conscious awakening of the things that you need to heal from in the process. The third thing to do is forgiveness. Why is forgiveness so important? Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is for you to be able to release yourself, to be able to let go of everything that you're holding on to that doesn't serve you. And as you're forgiving yourself on a daily basis, you can also look back and forgive the people that did not know better, that may have brought you the pain. But and you have to look at it as you're forgiving. Remember that you are also gaining that knowledge and conscious awakening of the you that you don't know yet. So it's a lot of processes, and if you're doing the work to break the generational patterns and cycles of trauma dumping from you to your children and the next generations to come, you're also going to help the past generations that may have trauma dumped that are still present in your life to understand this process. And in doing so, you're also helping them to heal, to learn the lessons, and to forgive in the process of healing. The fourth thing that you have to do is, as you begin the forgiveness process, is to begin to take baby steps to heal yourself. Healing is a lifetime process, and it doesn't happen for at a one-time shot. Sometimes we think, oh, I've healed from this relationship, and it means there's nothing to heal about myself. But there's still those trauma dump moments that we carry from childhood that we may not have gained a conscious awakening to. And as long as we're not allowing ourselves to open up to gain that awakening, what we will do is to hurt more when somebody else comes into the scenario and exposes us to the things that we don't know yet. So as you allow yourself to forgive yourself, remember that you have to forgive others to be able to release them from the memory bank of pain and trauma that you've dumped down within underneath the rug that you're not consciously aware of. And as you forgive yourself and you forgive others, you're opening yourself up to a better space and a better opportunity and a better life that you know awaits you in the future. Number 4 is to set healthy boundaries, because healthy boundaries help you prevent further emotional dumping. Healthy boundaries help you prevent coming into association with people that are also in a place of trauma, and you all begin to marinate each other's pain without really realizing it. Because let me tell you, most of the friendships that we form are based on trauma dumping. Let me say that again. Most of the friendships that we form when we haven't healed, fully healed, is based on trauma dumping. You start to have the conversation with the friends and it's like, this happened to me. And they're like, yeah, I've been through that. You don't do this and you don't do that. And all you do is marinate the pain together, but you're not healing from the process at all. But what you find is if you don't have healthy emotional boundaries and healthy boundaries in your own life, you will not be able to separate the people that come into your life to trauma dump from the people that really bring you into a place of growth. So when you allow yourself to set healthy boundaries as you go through the healing process and you're gaining more conscious awakening of the trauma dumps that you may have buried underneath the rug, what you're doing is preventing other people from coming in to dump more trauma into your space. You're setting the boundaries saying, now I'm on a healthy path. Now I'm working hard to get myself to where I'm healing. Now I'm working on myself to become the healthy person that I want to attract if I'm looking to be in a relationship, or if I'm in one already and we're working on getting better. As long as I'm able to set the healthy boundaries, I will prevent people from coming into my space to trauma dump. And I'm not going to shove anything underneath the rug anymore. I'm going to be able to communicate with myself as I'm going through the healing process, and I'm gaining a conscious awareness, and I'm breaking generational cycles and patterns, and my children will not really inherit any trauma from me, because now they're seeing that I'm building healthy, and all they will mirror is the healthy patterns that I'm putting out there, and I'm able to live by and live with purposefully in my journey. And the last thing I'm going to share with you is that it is okay to love people from afar. And that's part of healthy boundaries. It is okay to love people from afar. When you're preventing, when you're breaking generational cycles of trauma dumping and trauma bonds that you may have formed. It is okay to love people from afar, because when you do, you're preventing yourself from further acquiring trauma dumps. And without you really realizing that trauma dumps doesn't really help you stay in a healthy place, but pulls you back into an unhealthy environment, you will love people from afar and say, you know what, we're good. As part of my healthy boundaries, I love you, but you can't be in this space because all I'm doing is building healthy. And the more we're able to communicate effectively in a way where we're healing, we're getting better, we're letting people know that part of our self-healing journey is to really stop the generational patterns and cycles in our own family, in our own friendships, in our own workplace, then people will begin to gain a conscious awareness and will be interested in learning from you what you're doing to become this better person, this wiser person, this stronger person that you are, without you acquiring more trauma dumps. It is never okay to stay silent and allow people to trauma dump on you. We all go through life, but we also have to gain the conscious awareness as we go through this self-discovery journey and healing process in our own journey and in our own life, and become healthier. The goal is, while we're all homebound in a form now with COVID-19, we're able to gain that awakening to our truths and grieve and heal and learn the lessons over the years, so that by the time we begin to interact back with people and with family members, we're getting into a healthy space and we're not allowing people to come in and trauma dump. Trauma dump can significantly affect your mental and emotional state of being without you knowing it, without you gaining the conscious awareness of it, without you really healing from it. And so the goal is to learn how to get over it and to continue to work on it, because it is a lifetime process and it's not an easy process to go through. It's not a one-time shot. It is a lengthy, time-taking process. As you gain a conscious awareness of a trauma dump or emotional wound that may be in your space, work on healing from it so that you prevent it from reoccurring or burying it later on into where it's affecting your life. The more you gain a conscious awakening about it, the more you're able to work on grieving, healing, learning the lessons, setting healthy boundaries, and loving people from afar. It's all about breaking the generational patterns and cycles so that we're not allowing our children to mirror the things that we have acquired from our parents that they weren't even consciously aware of. But we're all going through this healing process and learning how to become better, how to become healthier, how to live purposefully, and how to build purposeful relationships that help us, stay in a healthy place, that a toxic environment that's only drowning us. Remember, every time you stay silent and allow someone to trauma dump or even acquire emotional wounds and pain, you're putting yourself in a place of self-sabotage, and it's not really going to help you to grow. If you're looking to get better, if you're looking to work more on this, I invite you to please connect with me. Email me, coaching@kemisogunle.com, or even inbox, DM me on any social media platform, and I'll be more than happy to support you through the process. If you're looking to get on an accountability group, I invite you to join the Purposeful Relationship Inner Circle, which is a monthly membership where you're learning to really heal from all this past and also breaking generational cycles and patterns that are continuously breaking you and the family down. And if you are not ready to, get the support, I invite you to also get the books, because I've written so much about this in my book, Being Single, Beyond the Pain, and on Becoming Restored. My mission in life is to really support you to become healthy and to really learn how to heal yourself, so that when you heal yourself, you're not only healing for you, but you're healing for the generations to come. And you're also healing the generations that are yet to heal from these generational patterns and cycles that bring us into a trauma dump environment where we're acquiring so much emotional and mental traumas that break us down, that allow us to become who we were created to be. We are all on the journey of becoming restored, and the more we start to work on healing, the better we will get there while we still have the chance, because tomorrow is not guaranteed to anyone. And you don't have to die in pain. You don't have to suffer alone in pain. There are so many people that have gone through similar things that you're going through that can support you. Get with them and get accountability. I'm also here to support you. If you feel that I'm the right person you need to connect to really help you begin to break generational patterns of trauma dumping, so that you're not carrying on these generational curses, but you're breaking grounds to break free from what's breaking you. I hope you all have a great week, and I pray that we all continue to stay safe and sound, and may God continue to keep us until our time is up. But before our time is up, make sure that you're loving and living to the very best version of yourself, and you're living with purpose, and you're breaking generational cycles of trauma and pain, so that when your children come to live their life, they are not carrying on the pain that they've acquired from you, but they're spreading a life of love and a life of truth and a life of purpose that can help other people in their journey while they're still living. You'll have an amazing day. Take care. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.